It was a late Friday evening, and Sophie was curled up on her couch, scrolling through her phone, lost in the vast sea of social media posts and memes. Her friends were all out at a party she had been invited to, but Sophie had stayed behind, preferring the quiet of her apartment and the company of her thoughts. She'd always been a little bit of an introvert, something she liked to think gave her a unique perspective on life. She tapped the screen to respond to a text, but before she could type anything, a new message popped up. Unknown number. Hey, Sophie, it's Mark. I was thinking about what you said earlier, and I just wanted to let you know that I'm here for you if you need to talk. Sophie's heart skipped a beat. Mark. Who was Mark? She didn't recognize the number. She didn't know anyone by that name. Maybe it was a friend of a friend. But it felt strange. She hadn't shared anything personal with anyone recently, certainly not about any serious matters. She quickly typed back, "Who is this?" A moment later, the response came. Unknown number. Sorry, wrong number. I thought I was texting someone else. Sophie paused, her fingers hovering over the screen. She was about to let it go. After all, it was just a simple mistake, but something about the message felt oddly familiar. Like she'd known this person for a long time, even though she hadn't. She couldn't help herself. She replied, "It's okay. But, are you sure you're okay?" She couldn't explain it, but the words felt right. There was something about Mark's message, the vulnerability in it, that made her want to reach out. Maybe it was the way he had offered to be there for her without even knowing her. She wondered if he felt as lost and alone as she sometimes did. A few moments later, he responded. Honestly, I'm not sure. I guess I've been struggling with some stuff lately. Thanks for asking, though. I'm not used to talking about it. Sophie could feel a flicker of connection, a pull toward this stranger she had never met. She wasn't sure why, but she felt an overwhelming urge to open up. I get that. I've been there. Sometimes it feels easier to just keep it inside, right? She typed. Mark. Yeah, exactly. It's like you're afraid if you talk about it, it makes it real. But it's hard to pretend forever, isn't it? Sophie nodded even though she was alone in her living room. She knew what he meant. The fear of being vulnerable, of exposing parts of yourself that you'd rather keep hidden. It was something she knew all too well. She had always kept people at arm's length, afraid of rejection or judgment. They continued texting back and forth for the next hour, talking about everything and nothing. It felt strange at first, talking to someone she didn't know, but the more they shared, the easier it became. Sophie found herself telling Mark things she hadn't told anyone in months. He didn't judge, didn't offer unsolicited advice. He just listened. And for the first time in a long time, Sophie felt seen. By the time they said goodnight, Sophie realized she was smiling. It had been a long time since she had felt that way, truly heard, truly connected with someone. The next few days passed in a blur, but Sophie couldn't stop thinking about Mark. Every time her phone buzzed, she hoped it would be him. And it was. They began talking every evening, sometimes sending messages in the middle of the day. Mark would check in, ask how she was doing, and Sophie would do the same. It became their routine. The more they talked, the more Sophie found herself drawn to him. There was a warmth in his words, a tenderness in his messages. He was funny, kind, and seemed to understand her in a way no one else ever had. A week after their first conversation, Mark sent a message that made Sophie's heart race. Mark. Hey, I've been thinking, would you want to meet up sometime? I know it's a little weird, given that we met over a text mistake, but I feel like we've really connected, and I'd love to see you in person. Sophie's mind spun. The thought of meeting him, of taking their connection offline, made her nervous. What if they didn't click in person? What if the magic was only in the messages? But at the same time, she felt an undeniable pull. A part of her knew that she couldn't keep hiding behind her screen. After a long pause, Sophie typed back. I'd like that. Maybe we can grab coffee sometime this weekend. The reply came almost immediately. It's a date. Sophie smiled to herself, her heart beating faster than usual. She couldn't remember the last time she felt this excited about something, about someone. The weekend came, and they met at a small cafe in the city. Sophie arrived first, her palms sweaty and her mind racing with questions. Would he look like she imagined? Would the connection they had online translate into real life? Then, she saw him. Mark was standing near the door, looking just as nervous as she felt. His eyes locked onto hers, and for a moment, everything else disappeared. There was no awkwardness, no hesitation, just a quiet, powerful understanding between them. "Hi," he said, his voice warm and familiar. It was like hearing an old friend greet you after years apart. "Hi," Sophie replied, her smile widening. She couldn't believe this moment was finally happening. They sat down and spent the next few hours talking, laughing, and getting to know each other in ways that text messages never could capture. The connection was just as real in person as it had been through their phones. By the end of the day, Sophie was certain of one thing: the text that had started as a mistake had changed everything. As they walked out of the cafe together, Mark took her hand in his. It was small, simple, but it felt like the beginning of something extraordinary. And Sophie knew, in that moment, that sometimes the most unexpected moments, like a text meant for someone else, could lead to something